Hello ladies and gentlemen, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Jedi Night's Watch. Today we have a Hot Toys review fresh from Sideshow. This figure just came out last week, at least that's when I got mine, and it is the Solo Darth Maul DX18. DX of course stands for Deluxe, so typically you're going to get more with this figure, more accessories, better looking box, kind of just a little bit more high end. Before we get started though, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and ring that bell notification so you are made aware when we're coming out with new content. So this is the DX18 Solo Darth Maul, and this is during a time period when Maul is a little bit older, shows a little bit more age. He's the leader of the Crimson Dawn, and this takes place, like I said, during the Solo movie. So just a little bit before New Hope, but well after the Phantom Menace. I did own the DX16, and there's a DX16, a DX17, and now the DX18. The DX16 and 17 are going to be pretty much the exact same, except the DX17 comes with his speeder bike. So the figures are going to be the same. So I'm just going to reference the DX16 because that's the figure that I had. I did like that figure a lot, but when I had it, I just felt something wasn't right. Kind of felt the head sculpt was a little too wide, didn't really portray Ray Park. The tailoring of the clothing, and then with the fat suit, I felt the clothes were too baggy. He looked a lot more slim in the movie, and then his outer robes were really baggy. So it just kind of, it always bothered me. So I sold that figure. I saw this guy and I wasn't too impressed when I first saw it, but Maul has quickly become one of my favorite Star Wars villains, and after I saw a close-up of these robotic legs and I kind of learned his story a bit more, I really started to fall in love with this figure, and I pre-ordered it, so we have it. So we're going to do this review. So let's get a quick look at the box. On the front you do have a portrait of Darth Maul himself, Star Wars, and on the bottom it says Darth Maul. On the back of the box we're going to have all the credits and warnings and who made the figure and whatnot. It is an outer sleeve, so it's going to slip up, and when we take that off, we're going to see we have a nice menacing portrait of Darth Maul, and it's kind of a red look to it and got a nice shine to it. It's going to have some texture to it, and this box is different being a DX version as it's kind of like a sleeve type. So instead of a typical box that opens up at the top, this guy's just going to slide out from the side, which I really do like. And when we slide this out of the box, we do have kind of a top cover, and it's a Crimson Dawn keychain. You know, I'm not gonna probably remove this or do anything with it. I don't know what Hot Toys really expects you to do with it other than put it on your keys, but I'm not gonna use it at all. I don't see any use for it. It is nice that Hot Toys added it, but I just don't really see a use for it. So, but hey, nice that they threw something else in there. So now let's get the accessories out and take a closer look at what this guy comes with. So first things first, let's take a look at the stand before we get into the accessories. So Darth Maul does come with a dynamic stand, which is nice. We have the flexible pole here, and then it does come with the waist grabber like so. So that is nice because you can have him in more action poses, kind of flying through the air. So definitely with Darth Maul, you know, a dynamic stand is a must. Now, the base itself is the same base that came with the DX16 in size-wise, this like triangular kind of look to it. It is nice that it has a metal plate here that says Star Wars Darth Maul. However, the size is just too big, and I hate these types of stands because you can't fit more than one in a DTOF unless you're going to kind of really be creative with it. They're just too big. They're not ideal to be displaying unless you're going to display it solo, no pun intended. But I'm just not a fan of these stands. However, I go back and forth with stands in general. You know, it's nice to have that extra support, but I really just don't like how stands look with the figures. I kind of just like them standing there. They look a little bit more realistic without the stand. So that's just my personal preference. Don't want to get on a rant there, but there are other ways you can display without stands. And you just got to be a little bit creative. So in the end, this, in my opinion, just isn't ideal and isn't something that I'm going to be using. It is just too damn big. All right, so here we have all the accessories that the DX18 Maul comes with. I know some people have said this is underwhelming for a DX version. We do only have one head sculpt. Typically there's going to be more accessories. I think what Hot Toys was going with is, hey, we're giving you this throne or seat, if you will, and you know that's not something that we typically do. Plus you're getting the holograms. Outside of that, there's really not much extra. You would get the same lightsaber blades, the same lightsaber light up arm, the hands, so there's not really a whole lot extra there. So I think you just gotta realize that, hey, they said we're throwing in the seat plus the holograms, and that's why this is going to be a DX version. I think the only thing they could have done better, in my opinion, is throw in a second head sculpt, but hey, that's not a deal breaker. So let's get into a closer look at some of these things. So here we have his throne, and just a really good paint application on this. We have a lot of detail going on. You can see a lot of kind of paint weathering going on here as well. You got the pipes rolling through, and they have really good texture, really good paint application. And then on top you have the seat, and it's a full plastic, but it really has great detail. It looks like a cushioned seat. It's just when you touch it, it's hard, so it's kind of molded to fit his butt. And then yeah, just really really nice looking accessory here. I do believe I will pose him sitting on this, at least to start. So that is the throne. So here we have his hilt, and it's a lot different from the Phantom Menace hilt, because I believe he did have to make a new one when he was in his trash planet. Really cool detail here. Really good paint application, detail in the hilt itself. And then we have his light up arm, which I typically don't use these at all. I don't know, I'm just not a big fan of putting batteries in the figures. They would go in here, and this does come with batteries. I probably won't ever use this while the plastic is still on it. I typically will take my lightsaber blades and I will paint them so that they stand out a bit more, because this is more of like a pink to it, and it's really just kind of desaturated. The light in the hilt itself here is going to be a red LED, which doesn't broadcast a whole lot of light, so they don't really light up the best. They don't have, typically the light kind of shines and kind of dies out right about here. So but these are the action blades that he comes with, the action lightsaber blades if he were to be wielding it. And he comes with his Crimson Dawn necklace. This is real metal chain here. Again, I don't know, it's just kind of a weird necklace. I don't know if I'm going to be posing him with this on. We'll see. The Purse tool to move his eyes, and he comes with 3 sets of pretty basic hands. He has kind of a almost like a resting hand here, maybe like a forced hand here. Really, I mean, good detail for Hot Toys. It's just we've seen these before. And then his hands where he is holding his lightsaber. Then we have the Kira hologram. Actually a pretty good likeness to Emilia Clarke. And this is pretty cool. We don't really have a place to pose her though, you know, if he's sitting on his seat. But just a cool add-on. And finally we have a Darth Maul hologram sitting on his seat. I know some people are like, why are you giving us this Hot Toys when we already have the Maul figure? Are we supposed to have him talking to himself? Or, you know, it doesn't make sense. But I think it's just something they threw in just for an extra to have, you know, kind of like, it's not necessarily meant to pose him with it. It's just something cool to have that you could, I don't know, display your holograms or pose it with another one. But I mean, it looks cool. So there you have it. Those are the accessories that Darth Maul comes with. A bit underwhelming, sure, but I think the real impressive part is what we're going to be getting to next, and that is the figure itself. So let's, without further ado, bring out our figure. Alright guys, so here we have Darth Maul out of the box, and wow, does he look breathtaking. Let's start with the head sculpt. So first things first, the head can be removed pretty easily because it is magnetic. You do have the PERS system here where we can move the eyes, and that's what that tool is going to be for. I do wish that there was just one joystick that controlled both eyes, because it can be a little hard to get the eyes to just line up just right and make them look natural. The second cool thing about this being magnetic is that you can swap this out with the DX16 head. So you can make this version look younger, you could make the other version look older, kind of customize it to how you want, do the different facial expressions. I think that's really cool. Looking at the figure itself, the horns are going to be larger than the DX16. They're going to be a little bit longer. The red in the face is actually going to be a deeper red than the DX16, where that almost is more of an orange. And there's just a lot more skin texture in this figure. Doesn't look like this is just painted on. You can definitely see that Darth Maul has aged, and this is obviously years later. You can see just a lot of kind of, I don't want to say sagginess in there, but it just looks a lot more realistic. I love the facial expression. We have kind of some teeth showing there. It's not over the top, but I think it's a really effective facial expression. And then the fact that we can move the eyes is really going to help kind of pose this figure. Let's just rotate him around a little bit here. Even up here you can see almost like scars and imperfections in the head. He does still have his piercing here. Here's the profile look. He does come with a hood attached to the robe. This is going to be fully magnetic, and we'll put that on later and do some cool poses and futz with that. And then on the chest, you can see that he does have some tattooing. That is just going to be on the chest area. It does not extend to the arms or past the abdomen area. So you couldn't really pose this guy shirtless. However, the Clone Wars Maul that is coming out is one that you can pose shirtless. He does have the tattoos that extend. And here's a full rotation of the figure. All right, now let's take a look at the mid part of the figure. So here we have the hands that come with the figure, and they are just going to be kind of the resting hands. We have this cool belt here. There is no place to attach the hilt, unfortunately. And then looking at this fabric, it's got a really nice sheen and shine to it. Just kind of reflects really great off of the light. Now it looks like it's a pleather material, but it's actually like a fabric. So I do believe that this is going to hold up better than like a pleather material would. Feels really nice in the hand, and yeah, it looks really good. The outfit is tailored really well to Darth Maul. Here we have some cool stitching and some cool details on the fabric as well. On the gloves, we do have a wrist joint so that this isn't all connected like on the Darth Vader figure, so it's going to be easier to rotate the wrists. And just going around, you can see the rest of his robes. It's going to be more of a fabric on the back, that typical fabric that we're used to seeing. And yeah, just really great outfit. Let's go down to the main event, the legs. All right, so now we get to the best part of the figure, in my opinion, what won me over to buy this figure, and it is these robotic legs. Look at this work of art that Hot Toys did. You can see all of these wires, these like shocks, pieces of metal just running through the feet, and it's just breathtaking how cool this looks. There's so much detail. We can see paint scraping here. This, if we bring that up, you can see even more of the leg and just the details and all of the different parts that Hot Toys took the time to make and to make them right. We have different colors here, like a gold, and even on the back of the feet there's more of just these piston-like shock features with the gold on the bottom and the red wires, and these are fully articulated feet and the wires don't get in the way. They look amazing. I don't know, I can't talk about this without smiling. It is so cool. I can't wait to display this. Now, the robes, the bottom parts of the robes are going to be magnetic, so we are going to be able to pose them, and you can see that there. So we'll do that in a little bit, but yeah, then they just basically attach the legs to a body here at the knee, and then we just have cloth covering that. Really cool. All right, now let's take a look at the articulation in the figure. So again, this is going to be magnetic, so you're going to have a ton of movement and rotation. Do be careful, these are really sharp. Sometimes it can like fall or look funny, but you're going to have a lot of movement here. Going down to the arms, pretty much more than a 90 degree, which is nice. And a 90 degree here. Double joint at the elbow, and like we said before, because they cut this here, we're going to have a full rotation in the wrist. There is some swivel in the waist, and this belt does restrict the crunching effect, so he doesn't have a whole lot of movement there. Alright, going down to the legs, he does have quite a good movement there. We do have a swivel in the thigh. Going outward is not going to be much more than this due to the fat suit. We do have a double joint at the knee, and then we have a full ball joint on the ankle, and the toe also has movement. So really good articulation in my opinion. Now let's talk about some things that we like and dislike about the figure. Alright guys, so here we're going to show a few of the cool poses that you can put Darth Maul into, and let's talk about some of the things that we like about the figure and some of the things that not so much. Let's start with those things that maybe could have been improved on. So yeah, this doesn't feel like quite like a DX. One head sculpt and not enough accessories is a little bit underwhelming, but it's not a deal breaker for me. I do wish they could have added a little bit more, mainly a second head sculpt. Second thing that I don't like is the base. Not a fan of these bases. I have one for the black chrome Batman, and we had this one for the DX18 Darth Maul. They take up too much space. They're not ideal for posing, especially if you have posing in a DTOF with more than one figure. Definitely can be crunched. And really the only big base style that I like is if it's going to be like a diorama style, like say Darth Vader came with, where you can incorporate that into the look. This is just a huge foundation for him to stand on, and it's not necessary. And lastly, the purrs are pretty cool. I like that you can move the eyes. However, I do wish that the joystick controlled both eyes at the same time, because it can be hard to get them to look just right. If they're off by a little bit, it's just not going to look right. Now, for the things that we really like about this figure, first, the robotic legs. They are so detailed. The paint application is so awesome. You have all of these cables and wiring running through the legs. You have these pistons and shocks, and just these realistic looking legs. The detail that went into this is breathtaking, and it truly is a work of art. Second thing that I really like about this figure is the head sculpt itself. Again, the purrs is kind of a downgrade with how they work, but it's still an upgrade that you can at least move the eyes. I feel like this has more of a Ray Park feel. The face is going to be more narrow. The detail and the texture in the face, I feel it looks more like Ray Park, and this is the best Darth Maul look-alike to date. And lastly, I really like the clothing on this figure. I like how it's tailored and it fits better. I love the style that they went with. It looks like a pleather material, but isn't. I like it that they wired the hood as well as the bottom part of the garment. And the last thing that I like about it is that they included the throne. This is probably why it's more of a DX figure, because they included this throne or this seat, but I do like it a lot. I like how it looks realistic. It looks like a cushion, but it's plastic, and it just gives you different ways to be able to pose this figure. So hey, that's pretty cool. So I did say that I think this is the best Darth Maul we've had to date, and I do like this better than the original Darth Maul that we've had, and that includes the sideshow version as well. And the reason why is kind of what I said. You know, the details in the head sculpt are a lot better than that version in my opinion. The legs just throw this figure over the top, and I think the clothing looks better. On the DX16, maybe some of it was the fat suit, but the clothing made him look too short and stubby. And then when you put his cloak on, he really blew up and just looked really round and big. So, and that's part of the reason why I sold this figure. So I think this is the one to get. If you have the other one, keep it and get this one. But this one is worth it. All right, guys, let me know what you think of this figure. Did you like him? Were there things that maybe you had different opinion about than I did? Are you going to be picking this guy up? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.